Hello and welcome back to Tinker Talks Guns. This time, rounding off our unofficial CZ week, we'll be looking at the CZ75 P-01. This is a compact alloy frame version of the CZ75, which has actually been adopted by the Czech Republic's National Police as their official sidearm. But this is more than that. This is the CZ75 P-01 Omega convertible. And we'll show you what all that means on the table. The CZ75 P-01 Omega is a mid-sized, double-stack, double-action, single-action handgun. It is approximately 7¼ inches long by around 5 1/8 inches high in factory trim. This gun is very much not in factory trim. As you can see, it has been outfitted with aftermarket G10, I believe, grips in placement of the stock rubber grips or neoprene. And this gun has been worked over quite a bit by its owner, and we'll get into that in some detail. Well, first off, let's unload and show clear. Magazine drops very conveniently. The ergonomics of this gun are fantastic. I have a larger than normal hand, but as you can see, I've got a lot of overlap on that. I don't think you'd need nearly as large a hand as mine to access that magazine release without noticeably shifting your grip. Like the CZ-P-01 or P-07 that we examined earlier in the week, this is a double action, single action with a decocking lever. And gun has a lot of features. Now, not the least of which is the Omega trigger group, which is the user-serviceable semi-modular trigger group that CZ has implemented in most of their modern double-action handguns. This one, in addition to the G10 grips, the owner has outfitted it with tritium night sights. And the standard sights are quite high visibility, and they're quite good, but night sights, many people find them useful. This gun has also been given the full Cajun Gunworks treatment in regards to the trigger and fire control group. So it is rather better than the stock guns in many ways. The first and most noticeable, which of course, since we're talking about the trigger and fire control group, is the trigger pull. The trigger pull on this gun is the double action trigger. There's a little bit of take up, as there often is, but then you'll notice how short the stroke of the trigger pull is. It's not just short, it's very light and very smooth, and very, very easy to keep your hits on target with this in the first double action shot of a string. The single action pull lacks the usual squishiness of the triggers of these guns and its ilk, breaks very crisply, and has a pretty short reset that's quite easy to find. It is very easy to put rounds on target and keep them on target with this gun, and partly that's owing to the ergonomics, which are famous and quite phenomenal, partly due to the fact that even in stock form it came with very high quality, reasonably concealable sights. The great trigger pull, just everything about it is top notch, and you can see there is nothing lacking in the exterior fit and finish. Now, you can see the markings on the slide, CZ75 P-01, and then the Omega symbol indicating it has the Omega trigger grip. This was made in the Czech Republic and marketed by CZ USA, Kansas City, blah, blah, blah. Matching serial numbers on the slide and frame, and various other markings. Oh, and on the matching serial number on the barrel too. And various other markings, I have no idea what they mean. The decocker has a very good shelf It's interesting because you can actually bring the gun to safety, or to the safety notch with the decocker quite easily. And very, very easy to use, very tactile. Does lack texturing up here, but still, it's not difficult to keep your grip firm. And serrations front and rear, not overdone, but very effective. And they have a sort of semicircular cut, so they're not just a straight across cut, it doesn't appear. And that little bit of, they're just nice and sharp, very, very good, very easy to use. The gun comes apart like CZ75 or 1911. In this case, you line up 2 marks on the frame, and that allows you to pop out, if you have stronger fingers than me, to pop out the slide release. Let's see if we can pop this out. There we go. And once you've done that, the slide just slides forward. As you can see, it has the basic Browning style lockup and has a nice metal guide rod, which is particularly nice for compact guns. And there is actually a locking lug on this. It does not lock entirely on the dust cover, as many modern pistols do. Reassembly, of course, is the same, but we're going to have a look in here first. Now, I have heard these criticized for having sharp edges and unfinished machining in here, and I am not seeing it. This is a commercial example, of course, and with an MSRP of $800, you would expect, a pretty high level of finish inside and out, and this does not disappoint. There are no hint of the sharp edges I have been warned of. This gun has been fired quite a bit, but not enough to wear them down. So, reassembly. Of course, you just reverse the procedure. And we'll see if I can manage this without fumbling it and messing it up. That would be novel and rather uncharacteristic. Now, the obvious gun to compare this with is the P-01 we looked at earlier in the week, because it is commonly held, and I have said it myself, that the P-01, the P-07 basically, is the polymer frame version of the P-01. Oh, and while we're on that, one of the reasons that a lot of people like a polymer frame is that they're lighter. Well, guess what? There is less than an ounce of difference between these two pistols in their unloaded weight. And that is the benefit of the alloy frame. However, there is well over $200 difference in the price, and that also is the cost of the alloy frame. Also, the P-01 has a single position rail, whereas there are 3 positions on the rail on the P-07. The controls are nicer and easier to activate, but they do protrude a bit more. And you can see the top of the slide here is also less aesthetically finished, but still nice. And the real clue that these are not different versions of the same gun is the magazine. It doesn't fit. And this magazine, of course, does fit because it's a little smaller, but I wouldn't want to rely on it. So, different guns, different approaches to the same problem, one rather more expensive. And with the absolutely wonderful Cajun Gunworks trigger on this gun, you can really feel why this is the more expensive gun. But even just the details of the finish, the alloy frame, the exterior finish, everything, beveled magazine as well, of course, because it's CZ and you would. It's just, yeah, it's obvious upon examining the two guns why this one has an MSRP of $799. Add $200 for, well, $231 for the complete Cajun Gunworks trigger system. And what you have is a $1,000 gun that is, for my money, absolutely worth it. This is just so nice and easy to shoot with that Cajun Gunworks trigger. And the ergonomics, while very similar to the P-07, they're just better. Everything about it is just better. Normally, I'm not a fan of the serrations on the grip, but somehow this all works to provide me just as good a grip as the more textured P-07. Anyway, beautiful gun, and with the thoughtful additions by the current owner, just wonderful and an excellent, excellent gun to shoot. Going into this review, I had to wonder, is the CZ75 P-01 really worth $250 to $300 more than the P-07? Yeah, it is. If I had the money, I would happily pay the extra for the P-01. And then I would happily fork out another $231 to get the Cajun Gunworks trigger, because it is, simply put, awesome. And I was on the fence about getting the Cajun Gunworks trigger system for my P-07, and now I'm not. My birthday's in June, and I know what I'm asking for. Now, in practice, this gun has been exceptionally reliable. I had no malfunctions in the ammunition that I shot through it, and the owner reports that it just ticks like a clock, and it doesn't care what you feed it. Now, in testing, the average mean rounds between failure, which for an American service pistol, it needs to have over, 750 or something like that. Average mean rounds between failure. These went pretty near 2,500 when they were tested by the Czechs. And it was given NATO, basically clearance for use by NATO nations, which is a pretty tough standard. Great gun, reliable, feels good in the hand, shoots fantastic. What more could you want? Anyway, if you like the video, hit like and subscribe. If you feel motivated to help me out, click the link below in the description and support me on Patreon. I hope this finds you well. Stay safe, take care, and we'll talk to you again real soon.